Some call them lunchtime lifesavers. Others call them the most perfect sandwiches to ever exist. At Zaxby's, we just call them our signature fan favorites. The Southern TLC Filet Sandwich has hand-breaded chicken with fresh tomato and crisp lettuce. The famous Kickin' Chicken Sandwich features spicy tongue torch and Cool Ranch sauces. And for a limited time, fried pickles are back. 2 classic sandwiches and a legendary appetizer. 3 more reasons you're gonna get a kick out of Zaxby's.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Friday. It's time for Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. I'm Aslan Hajavandi alongside Corey Clark. We work for WarChant.com. Use that fantastic promo code FSU Spring 2020. If you sign up for a year, you'll get 18 months of access and $50 e-card, which will allow you to purchase what you will on garnetandgold.com and get a $50 e-card. So you can spend $100 and really only have to spend $50 because of that e-card. So FSU Spring 2020, 18 months of access for 12 months price and a $50 e-card to Garden and Gold. Probably didn't sell it good enough, but I assure you it's a really good deal. Corey, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing? You hanging in there?
Yeah, man. We're doing all right. Back on that 5-day-a-week grind. Can't wait. Tomorrow, spring football. I'm just ready to get back to these questions. These Renegade Express questions that our fans had that we weren't able to get to on the show Thursday. So they want their questions answered, and I'm going to answer them. You're going to probably duck and dodge and evade the question, but I'm going to answer them, Corey, because that's how I roll.
That's cool, but I do want to address something real quick because we did get earlier this week, we got the layout of how spring practice is going to work.
Okay.
And I do think it's something we need to tell our listeners about and we need to tell our subscribers about. And that is that we do get to watch practice like we thought we were, but now it's been laid out. We won't get to what I think they have 2 scrimmages in the spring. It doesn't look like we'll be able to watch those. But every practice starts at 9 a.m., which means I'm thinking I'll roll up about 9:25 or 9:30, especially on Saturday. So Friday night out.
Yeah.
It's a basketball game later that day. I don't know if I'm going to be there to watch them stretch.
Right.
But I'm going to get there where the practice gets going. So around 9:25, 9:30, and we get to watch for 2 hours straight. However long the practice is, we get to be there on the perimeter watching them practice. And I'm just telling you that because it's going to make, number one, it's going to make this show a lot better, but it's going to make the site so much better. It's already really good, but we literally can do observations from what we see every day. Now, what we can't do until after Norvell comes off the field and talks to us is tweet about injuries or who's in boots or who's working with the first, whatever, that kind of stuff. But by about noontime, if you're a War Chant subscriber at 12:30, you're going to get flooded with information every practice, every day. And then also, we always know what we're talking about, but we're really going to know what we're talking about because we're going to get to see these guys practice every day. Not just the quarterbacks throwing to each other for 5 minutes while the offensive linemen, try to block each other. And then they do knuck if you buck, and then we bounce. Like, we're going to get to watch real practice. And I'm just telling you, as much as I've maybe complained about how secretive college football coaches have been in the past, I think I owe it to Mike Norvell to celebrate that approach because it's an awesome approach. As long as the people covering the team understand there are things that we can't talk about, whether it's for schematic reasons or personnel decisions that Norvell might say, no, I don't want to talk about that, don't report, whatever that may be. But by and large, you're going to have more access. You, the listener, you, the reader, are going to have more access to this football program than there's been in 20 years. And I'm really excited for it. I'm so excited, I don't even mind waking up to go do it. So anyway, good job, Coach Norvell. Well done. I hope it catches on around the country.
What if Bavion and Corey Durden get into a fist fight? Can we tell people about that?
I would think after the fact we could ask Norvell about it. But I don't think, my rule, my thought, and I told you, was that, there's no tweeting, there's no updates from 9:30 to 11:30.
Yeah.
And we just go dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then at noon, we flood everything, Twitter, message boards, the site, with the observations. Because there are going to be some gray areas. And quite frankly, I think there needs to be, like, I think you could say two people got in a fight. I think you could say, I guess. We're out there. That's part of the deal. They know we're out there. So I don't know if I'd feel great if we saw Durden, like when who was it with Jawan?
We have to say the names. We have to say the names. Corey.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We'll
So we saw that fight in Taggart's first year.
Yeah.
And then they held hands and walked around the practice field together, and then the kid was booted the next day. If we see something like that, it'll be odd and a little bizarre to just say, well, there were two unnamed players who got in a fight, but we could, I wouldn't feel great about it, but me not feeling great about that doesn't come close to me feeling great about being able to watch practice and actually see who's playing really well, who's going to fight for starting time, who keeps getting praised by the coaches. Because that's a great, obviously, that gives you a great idea on who they like and who's going to be starting for them. So if you see, let's say, Jaleel McCray, every practice is getting praised. That's all, and he keeps making plays, a pick here, a pick there, a caused fumble, tackle for loss, over and over and over again. Well, you're going to be able to say, hey, guys, keep an eye on Jaleel McCray. He's looked really good. And you'll actually know. You won't be having to hear it from somebody that was there. You're actually going to see it. And I just love it. I love that he's doing this. Leonard's done that forever. In fact, I went and watched a couple. That was another thing. So I don't usually know much about, you guys know me. I just speak and what happens, happens. But I went and watched an FSU scrimmage this year, basketball, preseason. And number one, there was a good, MJ Walker got hurt. So that was a good precursor to the season. It looked like he was done for the year, and then he was, he actually came back, and I think he played in the first game, maybe. But it was a knee injury, but I thought he had torn his ACL. But the other thing from that game, from that practice scrimmage that I remembered and wrote about almost obsessively, was how good Devin Vassell was. Like, he was unguardable. Like, he was their best player. And, we all thought Devin was going to be pretty good, but I went to that scrimmage, and I think he scored 26 points. And just dominated, kept getting to about 16 feet, rising up and making jumpers. And so I wrote about it, like, hey, guys, I know they lost a lot of dudes, but Devin Vassell's really good. And then I look like a genius because, look, Devin Vassell's really good. Anyway, so I'm really excited to be able to watch practice, man. I don't want to be dismissive about that at all because it's awesome.
First question of the day. Let's get to it. Comes from Samurai Knoll. First post ever. Wake up, gents. First-time subscriber. Listener to the Superb podcast since 2018. I may have taken your advice to wait on that subscription until spring ball started up, Aslan. You're welcome. By the way, thank you for covering basketball like y'all have. I have not been one to follow college basketball, but listening to your description of the team culture piqued my curiosity and has solidified my newfound love for college basketball. I'm from Chattanooga, launching pad for Terrell Owens and home of the late, great Reggie White. But currently, I live here in the land of the rising sun. Sacramento, I think, right? I am now...
I thought Japan was the land of the rising sun.
Okay. Maybe that one, too. I am now less cautious and more optimistic after all of these video drops from the program on YouTube. I cannot wait to see how the new culture Coach Norvell is engendering in the program produces on the field. My question is this. What tangibles will you be looking for from the offensive line and defensive backs in the spring game that would make you confident of a 10-win season? What time frame do you think will be realistic before we become a consistent fear in the ACC again? 10 wins. God, yesterday was 9. Today's 10. What do we need to see from the offensive line? Just ripped, just chiseled beef. Just
like literally like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like they can't even stay in their uniforms because they're ripping. Because they're just enormous. Other than that, there's nothing. And 10 wins ain't happening. So, unless, if the whole Alabama line transferred, took advantage of the one-time transfer rule, or 3 of those guys and then 2 of the Georgia guys transferred, I'm all for it, man. 10 wins, sign me up. But that's probably not going to happen. So there's literally nothing I can see. And I'm not trying to be snarky. There's nothing I can see from them in practice that's going to let me think that they're going to be good enough to be a 10-win team. Who was the other one he asked about?
Defensive backs.
Yeah, I just think, so much of that is predicated on what you do up front. Again, I don't. Is he asking what we can see in practice?
Yeah. What tangibles will you be looking for from them in the spring game? Actually, no, the spring. game.
In the spring game. Yeah, there's nothing in the spring game for the offensive line. There just isn't. For defensive backs, yeah, man. I think there's. I don't think there's anything that's going to make me think that there's a 10-win team, but there can be tangible signs of improvement. Breaking on balls, guys not running wide open against a zone, being able to coach a zone, being able to see a safety break on a ball. I want to see that. That's all I want to see. I want to see somebody over the middle and a safety read it because he comes into his, where his field, his territory, if you will, and he breaks on the ball, his coverage zone, and he breaks on it. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see them be able to play a zone competently and not just have breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. Cornerbacks are going to get beat from time to time. It just happens. The best ones do. Receivers are really good. Quarterbacks are really good. All this 7-on-7, it's really hard to be a cornerback, so you're going to get beat. But you don't have to get beat like a drum in zone defense. You can coach it up to where linebackers drop to the correct depth, safeties react quickly, and they go and make plays. So that's what I would love to see that in the spring game. Not that I want to see James Blackman throwing more interceptions necessarily, but I do want to see defensive backs making plays.
And what time frame do you think will be realistic before we become a consistent fear in the ACC again? 2022?
If he's good, if he does well, then yeah, 2 years, I guess.
Ooh, I'm saying 3 years.
Well, yeah, 2021, 2022. I think it could be within 2 years.
Like a consistent fear. I don't know. I just think.
Well, yeah, it's hard to establish yourself as a consistent fear after one season. Yeah. But where they could challenge to be the second best team in the ACC, 2021.
Okay, I like that. Off-topic question, what is your favorite, or rather, what is your all-time favorite FSU versus Florida moment? 2003, I was in the swamp, Ricks to Sam. That was great. It was great. Just the way people clutch their children as, we would yell, "It sucks to be a Florida Gator," as we were walking out of the tunnel. Just the fear in father and mother's eyes of just these monsters have taken over our house. We cannot do anything. Son, look away. It made me feel alive to a degree that I don't think I've ever felt since.
That was the last time Ron Zook lost to Bobby Bowden. I would say, well, this isn't even a contest for me. It's Charlie Ward to Warwick Dunn. It's an all-timer. It's an all-timer. One of the plays of Florida State football history.
Honorable mention, Jeremy Kerr, Smag, 4th and 1, get some. Although I wasn't there for that. But
I was there, and I was there at the Choke at Doak. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Kind of not that I forgot about that, but I still think the one play you're talking about Ward to Dunn against Florida. But the Choke at Doak was something, and then 52-17, that was what year was that? 88. That was my dad's code on everything. His passcode was always 52-17 because of that score.
That's awesome, man. My thing was just because the 4th and 14 before the touchdown to PK.
Yeah, Dominic Robinson.
Yeah, I just had this weird like I stood up. We were in the Florida State section, which is like the third tier end zone. It was the opposite end zone that the touchdown went into. But we were surrounded by Florida State fans, and there were some Florida fans in front of us. But I remember just like I was quiet. I'd been quiet for 10, 15 minutes because the lead had been lost, and it was just like it didn't look good. But I remember I just stood up and I just put my arms out. I'm like, it's going to happen. I'm like, it happens. It starts right now. I remember that's what I'm like, it starts right now, everybody. It starts right now. And then he hits D-Rob on the square in. They converted, and then boom, touchdown, and it was beautiful.
The best part about that, folks, if you're too young to remember it, or if you haven't gone to YouTube in a while, go search that play, Ricks to Sam, and listen to the Florida Gators radio broadcast of it, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't know who their color guy is. I know Mick Hubert is their play-by-play guy. I don't know who their color analyst is, and if he's the same guy that he was back then. But he specifically goes on 4th and 14. He's like, "What do you got now, Chris Ricks?"
I know Jeff Bowden. I think he's like, "What you got now, Jeff Bowden?" He said,
"What do you got now, Jeff Bowden?"
Yeah.
And then 4th and 14 happens, and then the very next play is Mick Hubert going, "Caught PK Sam." Like somebody kicked his dog. It's really great. You should go listen to it.
Maxwell Gibbs, good evening, ladies. I'm sure you're both excited for these morning practices, but what are you most excited or interested in seeing during spring football? Give your pal Gibby good detailed answers, and I'll change my 1-star review back to a 5-star one. Sincerely, your pal Gibby.
Hey, we don't dance.
I won't
we
be
don't
extorted.
dance for anyone.
I won't be extorted.
Yeah, that ain't playing.
Who's this
We're not.
guy?
It's not like, hey, shut up, Carnival Boy, and dance for me.
Yeah.
That's not how this goes, Maxwell. We've been too good to you to get a 1-star review. Where can we leave a 1-star review for Gibby?
Yeah, what's his job? Can we go on like Indeed.com or something? Or
Can we get his boss's email?
Yeah, this guy. What am I most excited or interested in seeing? I just want to see the head coach, just see how he interacts with his players. I do want to see the way Alex Atkins coaches the offensive line, the way they take to it. There's some grumbling you would see with the offensive linemen at times during practice, which is natural. They're bumping into each other the entire time. It gets a little bit annoying. But let's see if maybe there's I wonder if he's going to go the camaraderie thing. It's us versus the world. We need to be family. We need to love each other. Or he's just going to engender just mean, angry dudes being mean, angry dudes. Never been a defensive guy. I don't know. I guess I want to go see the way they're going to teach backpedaling and turning around, and I'm being serious on that. When I was editing the defensive story video that went along with what you wrote the other day, Corey, it was just, I haven't been to a lot of college football practices to watch, but it'd be Hamza acting as the wide receiver and Akeem Dent being the defensive back, and they're both running it like 60%, and the ball is being thrown 40 yards in the air by Harlan Barnett, and they jog 15 yards down the field. Akeem Dent turns around, jumps up, grabs the football. And it's like one of those things it's like almost if you're playing tennis and you're just kind of like lobbing the ball back and forth to warm up, which is like, that's cool. And again, we were there at the beginning of practice, so maybe that's what they kind of use just to lather these guys up. But you're like, man, there's nothing this is going to do to prepare you for, T. Higgins running a freaking, flag route on you or a go. This is nothing that Amari Rodgers is going to run. There's no carryover. Like, why are you going so slow all the time? But again, it was only a small, brief segment of practice, so I will look for defensive backs. Otherwise, quarterbacks, the way maybe Dillingham and Norvell, kind of their synergy, and then a little bit of the offensive line stuff.
Yeah, my short answer, I guess my dodge, duck it answer is all of it. I'm looking forward to all of it.
Good.
Seriously,
don't give him a detailed answer. Don't give him the detailed answer.
I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm looking forward to all of it. I've never gotten to cover practice consistently. I've seen, we would get to cover 1 or 2 a year with Jimbo. I think we covered 1 spring practice with Willie. And I've been doing this now for 12 years. And I've covered maybe 15 practices total where I've gotten to see everything. Well, now I get to see everything from start to finish. So I'm looking forward to all of it. I'm looking forward to seeing all of it, to see who improves from March 7th to April 18th and everything in between. So I know that's a cop-out answer, but that's what I'm looking forward to.
FSU Haired. I think this is the first-time person. June 7th, 2002 date, they joined. This is their 330th message. Man,
Okay.
look at that. Like almost 18 years in the game, only 330 messages. If Tinder was around when Corey was coming up, what would his screen name have been? Doesn't work that way. You don't pick a screen name. It takes your actual name off your Facebook. Maybe what would like your bio be, Corey? Like what would be your quirky, clever, like elevator pitch of a bio on a dating app be for 27-year-old Corey Clark, 23-year-old Corey Clark?
Good hair, chubby cheeks, likes movies, writer, lover, poet, gentleman, and a scholar.
And son.
And son, and son, husband. Well, no,
That
would work. That would work on a Tinder site. So yeah, son. I think that's it. Love my mom.
Okay, that's good. That plays well.
That's a really good one, right? I think that's solid. Mama's boy. Does that play well or not? Do you think?
No, I think it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like I love my mom, but you can't say mama's boy.
Brand new. That opens up a can of worms if you say you're a mama's boy.
What do you think the chances are that the baseball team keeps the 40 wins streak alive? It took a miracle postseason run to get it last year. Do you think that Meat is frustrated that his dad did not announce the year he would be retiring earlier to help with recruiting? He can't be happy that this was the team he was left to inherit. They're fine. I mean, they're like what are they? They're 8-3. They've lost to Texas Tech twice and Niagara. Yeah, 9-3. They're good. I think we got.
Yeah,
this.
I mean they haven't beaten. They're about to get. It gets real this weekend. Duke's good, and they're at Duke, so that gets real this weekend. But yeah, I mean, it probably would have helped the program overall if Mike Martin Sr. had announced it a little quicker, like maybe given a 2-year heads up, 2-year window. I don't know, but he might not be happy with the overall roster right now, but he's happy that he's the head coach.
Huh.
So I don't think he's complaining too much. It's just, yeah, man, this team is what it is. It's really good pitching, should have good pitching, a lot of good pitchers. Fielding is an abject horror show right now, and the hitting is going to be pretty gross all season, it would appear, but we'll have some highlights. Cabell's been really good. Tyler Martin's been really good. Robbie Martin is really good, and you just wait for Reese Albert to become good again. And if you got that, you're okay. But the question about 40 wins, yeah, man, it took a straight up miracle. Like that was crazy. It should have ended. What did they have last year going into the postseason? 33 wins?
Something absurd, yeah.
Maybe 34, 35? Like they weren't close. And they go on that run where they win whatever it was, 3 in a row at Georgia, 2 in a row at LSU. Then they beat who did they beat in the first game? Arkansas?
Yeah.
In Omaha?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they won 6 straight games to get to 40 or 41, whatever they finished with. So they're about, when you look at it, and they lost their best hitter off that team, and they lost their second best starting pitcher. So you take a team that was really a 34 win team, and you take 2 guys, you take Drew Mendoza off it and Drew Parrish off it, and you replace Drew Mendoza with what? We don't know. It's hard to believe that they're going to have a better regular season record. But, we'll see. I'd say 50-50. And it's really going to be bad. If they don't get to 40 wins, that's going to be bad timing for old Meat, because literally they did it every year his dad was the coach. And then his first year, through not all the fault of his own, but in his first year, they don't get there.
Yeah.
Or they might win the World Series.
Keep trying to find what they had going into
what they finished with.
42.
So then they had 30. They must have had 36 going into the regional because they won 3 in Athens, and then they won 2 in LSU, which was 5, and then they won the Arkansas game, which is 6.
Yeah. Well,
So they had 36 going into.
Look at that.
I mean, they were one of the last 2 teams to make the tournament.
Yeah. Made it to the CWS.
Yeah, made it to the winner's bracket.
Yeah, Reese Albert needs to figure it out. Matt Nelson needs to kind of figure it out. Oh, that'd be nice. Defensively, though, everything remains. It's crazy because on Tuesday night when they played Mercer, a shout out to Tyler Martin, by the way, with the walk-off winner.
Yeah, man. Kid does what he does.
What were they thinking? They loaded the bases. It was 1 out. I guess obviously load the bases to get the force out to any base,
Yeah.
but it's like you're going to walk to get to him.
Well, but you set up the double play. You set up the force out at home.
Yeah, but it's like, man, the guy gets the barrel on the ball. I mean, just
Yeah, he does. Well,
he get a sack fly, wins the game. I mean, anything that he just doesn't totally flub up. Like the confidence that kid has at the plate is really impressive. Like he might be on the inside, he might be crying, but he looks like complete nails. I mean, taking really close pitches and just the way he battles in there, it's really impressive. But like Nanner DeSatis, I think that one of the runs was unearned. I mean, just absolute routine ground ball, and he just double clutched it. And it was like, what do you just field it and throw it? And then he double clutches it, throws the ball wide of the bag at first, and then like a run scored off of that. But later in the game, he climbs the ladder and just absolutely robs Mercer of what was probably going to be, obviously, at least a single, but even maybe an extra base hit the way it came off the bat.
Yeah, I think that probably gets to the fence. Yeah, that would have been, it's a great play. It was a great play by him.
And Jackson Green had a real nifty pick and throw. I mean, just all one motion, everything just so smooth and clean and fluid. You're like, well, obviously this is what they're probably doing in practice, and this is why these kids are out there starting. But they can just figure out a way to...
The problem the last half decade hasn't been not being able to make good or great plays. It's been making the routine plays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the double clutching, I don't get it. It's crazy to have the yips. But I wrote this on the site on Sunday, because they were two. I don't know what they are now. It's just been one game, but they were 290th in the country in fielding percentage. There's 6 teams behind them, and it's like Longwood in Jackson State, in Harvard, who had only played 3 games. Those are the teams that they're in front of in fielding percentage. That should be embarrassing.
Absolutely.
But I would almost make them. I jokingly said I would make, if they had more than 1 error, I would hit them ground balls. I would make them do infield for 2 hours. And if they had more than 1 error combined as a team, they have to go do the tour of duty with the football team.
Nice.
Or they have to go. They don't get to take batting practice. Or they have to run foul poles till sundown. Whatever it is, like, figure something out. Put real pressure on them in practice so they don't feel it as much in the game. Whatever it has to be, because I'm sure in practice, DeSatis is just throwing seed after seed after seed, chest high right to the first baseman. But then in the game, he's double clutching. Maybe that play the other night, climbing the ladder, will give him some confidence. You just can't. And they actually won that game because of Mercer's fielding errors.
Oh, I know. It felt so bad. Like their SID, Mercer's SID was just like dying a death by 1,000 cuts, like with each error that third baseman made. I was like, hey,
yeah, man, they scored their 2 tying runs on an error by the third baseman. Yeah. So I think that might have been the first game this year they scored more unearned runs than they gave up. Yeah. But you got to fix that, man. You can only go so far if you can't pick up the baseball, because your pitchers can't strike everybody out.
That's true. FSU Herod in parting says, thank you and keep up the fine work, gentlemen. Also, what's with the taking days off? Some of us rely upon you guys to get us through our morning commute. Well, I appreciate that, but I'm going to take my days off when I can take my days off.
Those days are over. Although, so we'll have spring practice next week, and then not sure what we'll do when they have spring break.
Yeah.
I guess that'll be basketball time, though. That'll be the first week of the NCAA tournament, so we'll have shows there too. Trying to figure out.
Ira will take over probably at some point,
Yeah. It's eventually going to be the Ira takeover. It'll be Wake Up Ira, is going to be the name of the show soon enough. But until then, we're gonna do our best. We're gonna try to be in some form of capacity every day. But if it doesn't happen, you're getting what you pay for.
Like, are we the only daily podcast? I know there's certain radio shows that are daily, like Jeff Cameron or Dan Patrick or whomever, that put their show in podcast form. But is there anybody who, I guess like Joe Rogan maybe, that's just they're podcasts, so they're not live on the air anywhere, and they put a podcast out every single day?
I can't imagine we're the only one. I have to imagine there's more. I think there's some political ones that are daily. There's some newspaper ones that have daily ones, even if they're like might be 20 minutes.
Yeah, they get to talk about everything. We got to talk about this one specific.
Yeah, one specific thing. We're certainly the only one on the FSU beat, and we're the best one.
That's right.
Well, there's another one that's near and dear to my heart too, but I won't mention that. But yeah, I mean, we give a great service to Florida State. I think your point of what you're asking there is how great a service do we give Florida State fans?
Yeah.
And the answer is it's really great.
Yeah. And I like it. I think it's better that we get missed at sometimes and people are sick
Absolutely.
of us. I think it's good to kind of absence
let me
makes the
tell
heart
you
grow
this,
fonder.
folks. Let me tell you this. Like, don't be complaining about Brady talk or basketball talk or any other talk if we're going to be 5 days a week.
That's right.
We got to fill it up with something. In fact, Aslan, it has been so long since we had a Tinder update.
I know.
Are you on the market? Are you off the market?
Man, I think we're ghosting each other. Like, there was that girl I was seeing.
I know. What happened? Is it because she's scared of the coronavirus because you went overseas?
I think that's part of it. I mean, she's in med school, so she's like completely overwhelmed with school, so her schedule's all weird. And yeah, it just doesn't look. I mean, it never was ultimately going to be like a long. It was my rehab assignment. I got sent down to Gwinnett.
Well, that's not a great way to refer to it. I think if there was a chance that y'all were going to be something, that just ended it.
Well, whatever. Well, then don't ask me questions, Corey.
Well, I didn't know you were.
You always ask me this question, and you feel so bad for these females that are complete strangers to you. Like, you think I just
I didn't know you were going to call her a rehab assignment.
It's all in good fun. It's tongue in cheek. It's funny.
Okay.
She's beautiful, man. She's gorgeous. She is going to be
a doctor.
And she's going to be a physician's assistant, which is like down the rung. But she's going to be making six figures like in 8 months here or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't ghost her if I were you.
I'm not, but you can only put so much vibe out there, and you gotta be like, well, I'm not going to overwhelm you with my vibe if it's not being reciprocated.
Understood.
Viking _Noel, gentlemen. People on the boards have been speculating for a while that Wyatt Rector may switch to tight end. Now, there's some reporting that this actually may be happening. We know he's athletic, but do we have any idea how well he can catch the ball or block? Is this just a we need the numbers type move? Or do you think the coaches see him as someone versatile to design plays around?
My answer to that would be they've never coached him, so how would they know? I mean, I guess they could see him move. They could tell by the way he moves in the tour of duty drills. But as far as catching the ball or blocking, if that were to happen, they'll know soon enough. But I would assume something like that, if it were to come to fruition, would just be a numbers game. Like, they need bodies at tight end. Has he ever played tight end?
I don't think so. I think he's been a quarterback. I mean, he was quarterback in high school, quarterback at Western Michigan. Where else was he at? He was at two. Was he at two universities, or at least he verbally committed to one? He was at Western Michigan, and then I think he was somewhere else as well. But yeah,
I'll be honest,
quarterback.
And this isn't a shot at the young man at all because I don't know him. He might be great. I never gave a lot of attention to Wyatt Rector, not like maybe some other people did, because I never saw him being the quarterback here.
Yeah.
So I never really did a lot of digging on his background and what his story was because I didn't think there was a good chance that he was going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, I was guilty of it when I was in school with like the guys that you never heard about. Like, why aren't we hearing about this guy? And it wasn't one of those things where, well, you're not hearing about him because he's probably not better than the guys in front of him. It was just kind of one of these things of like, that guy, I think there's something there. Just because, it's like, well, you see everything else and you're like, it can't be any worse. And then you keep watching all these movies growing up, and you're like, oh, he's this hidden gem. They don't get him. Like once they give him the opportunity, he's a gamer. When the lights come on, then he's going to really play. Give him a shot, coach. Like my buddy was playing ball, and I'm like, dude, why isn't Ron Lunford in the starting lineup? I'm like, he's 350 pounds. Just put him out there and tell him not to jump, off sides, false start. Just have him sit there. He's tough to move around. The guy's like, because his feet aren't good. I'm like, what does that even mean? Who cares? Just put him out there. And he would just laugh at me. But then Lunford started like the ACC championship game and actually had a little bit of a nice run there towards the end of that season. But, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, I think, where everyone's just so hungry for options and feel-good stories. It's like, why wouldn't this work out? This kid, he's like Tebow light. But, yeah, to your point, it never seemed like a viable, real option. It was just, hey, let's get a kid here that's talented, that decent arm or whatever. Let's have somebody out here that can give us some good reps when we're running third team and things like that. But I would probably say it feels probably like more like a need the numbers type thing. I don't know. Like, what could they see from him in Tour of Duty? We're like, dude, we need to put you at tight end. Like you just look like a matchup nightmare with the way you're moving around the hula hoop right now and picking up the tennis ball.
Well, and also what quarterback would be like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping you'd say, Coach.
Right.
Get me in there and let me block Dennis Briggs. That's what I'm hoping you'd be. I was hoping I'd be able to do that all along.
That's why I left wherever Western Michigan is to come down to Tallahassee.
So I can block
Dennis Briggs.
Janoris Robinson.
Yeah. What are we looking like, though, at tight end right now? What is it? Cam McDonald and Gabe Neighbors gone. Trey McKitty gone. Alex Marshall had been gone for a minute.
I mean, there's a bit of a numbers crunch there. You got to find a dearth of numbers. So you got to have somebody there.
Can't
put Marvin at tight end for a few plays.
Yeah. I don't think Carter Boatwright's on campus yet, or maybe he is from Valdosta. Yeah, I don't know. They do use tight ends, I think, but I don't know how. The days of Nick O'Leary, I don't think are around the corner. Just win games. I don't care how you win. I don't care who catches the ball. I don't know. That's another thing too. Like people are really the tight end is like, why don't we use a tight end more? It's like, man, I don't know. Like who's Clemson's tight end? Who's Ohio State's tight end? Who's Oklahoma's tight end? But there's a faction of the fan base. It's like hungry, thirsty for a game-breaking tight end. It's like, man, I don't know. Yeah. There's three on the roster right now. Carter Boatwright, the freshman, not from Valdosta. I apologize. He's from Moultrie. Sorry, 229.
Yeah,
Moultrie.
Come on.
Austin White, who I think is he's a walk-on from Tampa Catholic, I think. And then Cam McDonald. So that would feel like a numbers game when you only have three guys at tight end. So
yeah. Yep.
And Jalen Goss ain't there. I want to see Jalen Goss. I want to see what's going to happen with him. I like that.
I can tell you, if he still
story.
looks the same, there is zero chance he's playing college football at that position.
Whatever.
You can't. He looks like Patrick Williams. You can't be 260 pounds and play. Raekwon Gray has a better chance of playing line at Florida State than Jalen Goss does if he looks like that.
Whatever.
I mean, it's not like he's big. He's an enormous human being for like Earth.
The general population.
For the general population, but for a Division I offensive lineman, there's just no chance. He's a tight end. He's got a tight end build. You cannot put that kid at left tackle or wherever he'd be if he still looks like that.
Don't be a fan later, Corey. I'll be hanging out on Purdy Island with my boy Jalen Goss, living that 9-win life.
All right, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to visit.
Last one, Knoll Fan 82. Wake up. My throat's still bothering me. I can't do the full gravel.
Right.
I really wish I want to intern just so I can have them go back and listen to that entire first 6 months of us doing shows back when we would record at the ESPN studios here in Tallahassee and have them find that first ever wake up that you did that spawned what we do on the show every day. And I just want to be able to have that and just hit a button and then it plays you doing it because
I don't feel like that would be even that hard. I feel like that could be done. I feel like
right.
we could get somebody to do that for us.
It was amazing. It was so good. I remember. I think I like audibly laughed. It was so great the way you pulled it off. And I'm like, well, we should do that
People want more though.
every day. All right. Last question again. NoelFan82. Wake up. Recently, Florida State University sent an email soliciting opinions on stadium upgrades. If you could make changes, what would they be? Example, would you downsize a bit in order to accommodate chairbacks? I'm not a big chairback. It would look nicer. Obviously, they have a whole bunch of like garnet chairbacks or maybe some garnet, some gold. I mean, I grew up, I shouldn't say grew up. I mean, when I think of Doak Campbell Stadium, I think of standing on the bleachers, stomping my feet, yelling my freaking guts out. But that's when I was 21 years old and had a fifth of Southern Comfort flowing and coursing through my veins. You guys are 63 years old. You've been working all week. You want to watch the Noles. You want to sit down. I get it. But yeah, I would downsize it for sure. For sure. Not even like a whole supply and demand, raising ticket prices sort of thing of just, I've never been a fan of covering high school state championship games in college stadiums. It's like the biggest game of these kids' lives, and there's 6,000 people in this Grand Canyon of a dome or a stadium. And it's like, I get it. You're in a pro stadium, or like one of the teams gets the professional locker room, or they get to go in the Auburn or the Ole Miss locker room. But like, I would just want to be in a 7,000 seat, like Gene Cox Stadium or whatever, which is like completely sold out crowd, people lining the fences, just like real intense intimacy, almost kind of a thing. I know you can't do that at the college level, but yeah, like make Doak 65,000. Make it 65,000 and harness it to where it's like loud somehow, maybe with the acoustics or something. But I would totally rather it be a hard ticket to get than have 82,000 or 78,000, whatever it is, and it's going to be at 80% of capacity 95% of the time. I don't like the looks of it.
Yeah, no, I'm down with that. I'm sure that's an expense to downsize it. Weirdly, but yeah, it would cost money to take out seats or to make them all chair back. I keep the students on bleachers.
Okay,
like what you said.
Yeah,
you banging and jumping and everything. Wireless could be a lot better. I think more fireworks would be huge. Maybe get rid of the marching band altogether and just pipe in the PA music, make it seem more like an NFL game.
You were being honest about the Wi-Fi, though. Everything else has been sarcasm since then, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I intertwine the two, so it might be hard to
don't
differentiate between the sarcasm and the reality. I think Wi-Fi is a big deal. I think they don't. I hate the NFLization at all these places. I don't know why you have to do some of the stuff that's done. I love it's third down. I think you should do that on second down and first down. Just announce every down like that. I do think there should be more marching band, but that's not going to get anybody. That's not like people aren't coming to the games because the marching Chiefs don't play as much as they used to. I don't know. I'm in that. I'm 9 stories up for all those games. I don't think the video board is used as well as it could be. The out-of-town scoreboard is like once a quarter, and it really doesn't make a ton of sense since everybody has phone. Well, no, the phones don't work half the time. So you could maybe run constant updates of other scores throughout the country, maybe, and not give us games that are, it's like Jefferson Pilot sometimes, it seems like. When you're watching the game and it's in the third quarter, but their score on the video board when they're doing their updates has it late in the first quarter. So, but yeah, man, I think these college stadiums just went bonkers with how many people they wanted to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy does Michigan still have 106,000 coming to their games? Does Tennessee?
Close.
Georgia?
Close.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And I just feel like that number is going to keep going down. So I would try to make it, it's not like you're selling 80,000 season tickets. So I would try to make it, whatever you'd want to make it, 65,000. Make it a little more cozy.
Yeah,
and you'd still have the same sound. And heck, 3,000 people are going to be inside the Champions Club anyway.
This is from 2017. Average attendance leaders. 2017. Michigan 111,589. Ohio State 107,495. Penn State 106,707. Alabama 101,722. And Texas A&M agriculture and mechanical 98,802.
Huh. Oh, hey man, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
But it ain't happening at Doak.
Yeah.
So I would just make it a little more comfortable for the people that are coming. That's all.
I'd like to see something done with the lights that can give them the flexibility of what baseball has now. Not so much with the flickering, although I'm all about the flickering. I want to turn Hauser into like a Korean professional baseball game. Although the animals, God bless them, and hopefully they can keep procreating because, man, they go away. I mean, like, what does a team like Mercer think when they go on a Wednesday night and play at like Florida Atlantic? Like, what is that game like? Like on Tuesday, that game was put together last minute, quite literally, and there was still like 10 animals in Hauser, and they were yelling and heckling and doing everything and help actually like energize that crowd a little bit of 200 people or whatever it was to help spark that rally. But I think it'd be super cool if like for night games, the lights went off and there was just a spotlight on Renegade and Osceola. Like that'd be super cool, I think.
That would be cool for the whole game.
No, come on, man.
Oh, that'd be cool if it was for the whole game. But yeah, do what Georgia did or what Alabama's doing with the LED lights.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, like make it
like what you're trying to do at Hauser, like you said.
They need to build something up more with the planting of the spear before the game. I guess you can't get in Renegades, he's in his zone, but it just feels so I don't know, it doesn't have and a lot of it's probably because of obviously the football team that's taken the field afterwards, but like the intimidation factor from that thing just doesn't have, there's not the buildup of it anymore, I feel like. It's just kind of like, because I remember there's some times where I'm like, does the team run out to the field first and then he does it, or does he do it and then we run out the field? Like there doesn't feel to be that sort of iconic buildup to it all. Maybe do that.
I got two suggestions. One is, every time you're saying it's third down, the lights flicker on and off like they do at Hauser.
Oh.
Like it's almost like a strobe light. The lights literally go out where it's dark on the field. So that's obviously a huge advantage for your team on defense. And then also legitimately, like 30, 45 minutes before the game when people are coming in, I know they got to run some ads on the video board, but everything else is just random people. Yeah. And there's an oblivious cam. There's all this nonsense. There are literally thousands of great moments in Florida State football history. Just play them.
Yeah.
Play them on a loop if you have to. Get people excited for the game that's coming up instead of showing some guy that's reading a book or talking to his kid and he doesn't know he's on the video board. Or some students that are talking and don't know they're on the video board for a minute and a half. Like, get it more amped up. Like, hey, you're at a Florida State football game. So just to remind you how good this program used to be, here you go. And then, every now and again you have an ad for one of our local sponsors, our dear local sponsors.
Can I say something controversial before we leave?
Sure, I'm not gonna respond no matter what you say.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome. I get the last word. All right.
You do.
Burt Reynolds is awesome. What an absolute great ambassador to have for the university.
Don't do this. Why are you gonna? Don't do this.
No, it's fantastic, dude. Bert's the man. Like Burt is.
How does this sentence end?
I don't want the eastbound and down going to the fourth quarter. It's just too. It's
too goofy.
That and I don't know. There's a certain DNA to this university that I feel like we're not country Florida. I think Florida has more of the rural. We are Florida. We're
because Florida plays a Tom Petty song. Yeah. They play a Tom Petty song going to the fourth quarter, which is awesome. Yeah, and then you're right. As much as I love Burt Reynolds, Eastbound and Down certainly isn't a great song. And it's from. Is that from? That's from Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those movies were they made him a huge star, but I don't think if you go back and watch Smokey and the Bandit, other than the Sally Field moments, you're like, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I thought you were going to say you didn't want him participating in the race
Oh
thing.
gosh, no, absolutely. He better
with him
should
and
win all the
Reese
time.
and Dion.
Yeah. But yeah, just I don't know, man. Again, this is a lot of it too with the qualms I had with the Nuck If You're Buck stuff. Is that I don't know, maybe it's because I worked in TV for so long and video is my main medium and creating stories like The Score. And I'm not one of these guys, I'm not a big cinephile guy. But man, music can make or break so many things in terms of cinema. And I think with sport it's the same way. Like it's live unedited cinema, but it's real life, man. And like these moments are soundtracks and like eastbound and down going to the fourth quarter of, a tie game between you and Miami. Like, I don't know if that's really like what I want to be listening to when I'm trying to get ready for this moment. I know you got to worry about your fans, keep them happy. But yeah, just I like that video they played with like the Bowden. Like that's the thing. They play that retrospective like Florida State video about Bobby in the locker room, like, coaching them up and showing all these great plays. Dion, T-Buck, just all these great plays in Florida State history of a 30-frame shot of Jimbo who won you a national title, but who cares about that guy? And then it was like, wow, that was freaking epic. And then the banjos start playing. You're like, what are we doing?
Speaking of, I'm of the opinion now that you've talked me out of it. You've talked me into it. Like, I don't want Eastbound and Down. The best movie Burt Reynolds was ever in was Deliverance.
Okay.
So why not Dueling Banjos?
Right, we do it for the West Virginia game, the first game, Atlanta.
For sure, it fit right in. Their stands would go nuts.
Oh gosh! All right, I'm done. You done, Corey?
I'm done. I'm hungry. I got to go eat.
All right, we're gonna go watch practice on Saturday morning. We're gonna be responsible journalists and follow the rules. But then, to Corey's point, man, when practice is over and we're done talking to Mike Norvell, WarChant.com is going to inundate you with information that comes to Florida State sports. So, do a good job for everybody, Corey.
I'm going to try.
He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's.